Today's topic is that it doesn't mean you have to take all those responsibilities alone. I'm going to leave a God's message with this topic. Depending on taking bad things or good things, it can be decided in our life. For blessing, we need to pray for having good relationship to meet new people. Some people define the meaning of the relationships with three ways. The first one is like fish. The other one is like batteries. The last one is handkerchief. They use figurative expression. The point, the metaphor is that when people meet new people, they feel unfriendly each other. They want to leave from the place and do not want to continue making more relationships. The second expression is like batteries. This means that when people have power, they help each other. However, with the lacking of any strength, they do not see each other. When they have power, they make new relationships. They help each other. They use people when they have power. It is a kind of sharing relationship. To make good relationships, they need to sacrifice and serve others. There is a couple. The man asked her, "I can give you whatever you want. Would you go out with me?" When the woman heard the proposal, she might feel angry and leave from him. The last expression is like a handkerchief. When you cry out, our God will wipe our tears, and He will give you a comfort. I want you to meet God, who wipes your tears. From Genesis 28, Jacob cheated his brother Esau of birthright. Then he moved into Laban's house. There was some fears in his mind. He was scared of cheating his brother, who had recently to kill Jacob, and having new environments to fit into. Also, he missed his parents so much. Jacob moved forward with unquestioned happenings in his life. Any of you is living with unquestioned problems in your life? You do not know why so many things happen to your life. Look at Jacob. He was in a desperate situation. What did he do? He took a stone and he put it on it. Genesis chapter 28, verse 11. When he reached a certain place, he stopped for a night because the sun had set. Taking one of the stones there, and he put it under his head and laid down sleep. From this verse, he was in worries, and he did not have any destination to live. But God met him. Like Jacob, we do not know what to do or where to go. We just cry out with our worries. Our God will wipe our tears, and He will meet us. Genesis chapter 28, verse 12 to 13. He had a dream in which he saw a stairway resting on the earth, with its top reaching to heaven, and the angels of God were ascending and descending on it. There above it stood the Lord, and He said, "I am the Lord, the God of your father Abraham, and the God of the Isaac. I'll give you and descendants the land on which you are lying." As you see these verses, God found Jacob before he looked for God. Our God always comes to us before we ask Him to see. So, what do we have to do? We must be in worship. We should not miss any services. Especially, those services are really important to us. We come to the worships every morning, and He will look for us and come to us. We often have so much problems. We try to find the answers, but we do not know how. This time, our God sends us a helper to be out of the problems. He comes and gives us His answer for us. He's our helper. When we are in the worships, He will give us some ideas about how to solve the problems. Think about Jacob. He was in trouble, but God helped him to move forward. From Genesis chapter 28, God promised Jacob. What is the promise? The other word of this is love. When do you promise with others? When you think about him or her, we try to make a promise. When he or she falls in love, the person tries to make a promise to keep their relationship. For example, when you see a friend, you might say, "Can you see you on the weekend?" We try to make a promise to keep the relationship. A person came to me and say, "I will buy a bag for you, but I haven't got any yet." One of my juniors came to me then and said, "I'll give you a nice car within 10 years." After that, I couldn't see him anymore. I think he thought about me too much, or he loved me so much. I really thanked him about his signing. When we make promises, this means that they are in love. They think about each other with their heart. From Genesis 28, our God made 3 promises with Jacob. God said that I will give you land, you will have a descendant, and I will give you a blessing. Genesis chapter 20, verse 30 to 14. I'll give you and descendants the land on which you are lying. Your descendants will be like the dust of the earth, and you will spread out to the west and to the east, to the north and to the south. All people on earth will be blessed through you and your offspring. The first one is about the land. This means that you would be rich. The next one is about many children. The last one is about blessings. This means you will recover from relationship. God talked about the blessings. As this mentioned, Abraham got these messages before. Genesis chapter 12, verse 2, I will make you into a great nation, and I'll bless you. I'll make your name great, and you will be blessing. Jacob also listed the same messages like Abraham. God promised them with the same messages. I'll give you my experience. When I was a university student, it was 1980s. What was the famous one? It is the liberation theology. It was greatly influenced to people. Actually, it started from South America. The message of the word is about salvation. To help people, they need to church and need to take a salvation. People became too sensitive to the issue, and they consider as class in a society. It was related to social and economic issue, and also it related against communism. After that, it became like a political theology. I do not agree with the liberation theology, but people who are in ages between 40 to 50s who had believed this theology as one of the concepts. The liberation theology had still influenced to many people. The content of the revelation series is limited, but it gave us the two insights. The first one is that people do not have to keep their sins in their life. It focuses on limited boundaries. Especially, conservative people try to stay in their boundaries. They just focus on spiritual salvation. From the Bible, being out of the boundaries is our sins. But in our life, it is hard to keep staying in the boundaries. For example, when you quit your job, when you try to look for a job, when you find a partner to get married, or when you have a family trouble, all things give you worries. Salvation should be influenced or over our life. We wish we want to succeed. This is called holistic approach. From this point, it gives us an important message from the insight. The next one is that the another word of salvation is revelation. The meaning of the revelation is to be out of the problems. Isaiah chapter 61, verse 1, He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim freedom for the captives and release from darkness for the prisoner, Romans chapter 8 verse 2, because through Christ Jesus, the law of the Spirit of life, set me free from the law of the sin and death. We act like slaves, but our God already set us free. What is the meaning of the cross? It moves us to be free. We are all in sins, but the cross moved us to be out of the sins. The salvation was influenced all over our life. God made Jacob, and then He moved Jacob to be out of the place. I want you to be influenced on your life and have a great experiences of salvation. God promised Jacob. He said that Genesis chapter 20 verse 15, I am with you and will watch over you wherever you go, and I'll bring you back to this land. I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you. God said to him, I will not leave you. This means that He would train him to be strong. From this verse, God trained him as the three ways. He wouldn't make him be rich and wanted him to care about many people as having many children. Then, he needed to restore from other relationships. In other words, God will involve you all over your life. Romans chapter 8 verse 28, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. He is God of the synergy. In Hebrews, it is called synergia. It mentions that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him. From this verse to completing all things God works for the good. This is really hard to perform. It is not easy through the process. For His purpose, God will involve our life and take whatever He would like to do. And we must remember that in all things God works for the good or those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. With His help, our life will be a blessing. Look at Jacob. He tried to make his ways, but he knew he could not. With our efforts, we are not able to move forward. It cannot happen to us. Only our God makes us a way. He said that I will help you. Every time we feel like I'm useless, I am disappointed in my life, because we feel the limitation of our strengths. This means that we do not trust our God. However, our God said that I will be with you and I will help you. We still move forward with our selfish mind. We trying to accomplish with our effort, but this makes you waste your time. This shows that we do not believe the verse that we know that in all things God works for the good or those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. People want to show themselves and feel proud of themselves. What is the characteristic of being proud of themselves? They show no worries, no depth of faith, and no internal control. They cannot be children of God, because they do not break their own selfish mind. As Christians, we confess that I'm too weak. Please help me. I'm too weak. I have nothing. But we come to God with this mind. He will take care of us and help us. The verse, and we know that in all things God works for our good, or those who loved Him, who have been called according to His purpose, is God's promise. He promised us. He said that I'll help you, I'll lead you away, I'll give you a hand, I will make you have children, and I'll give you a blessing. All these things are God's promises. When we look at ourselves, we can see our weakness and limitation. But with these things, our God will help us. When I pray with today's message, I'll consider Hongdae New Church members. I'll look at their names of list of our church members. When I look through the list, it made me so much worries. A lot of people are too weak. They have a lack of faith. I'm worried how I can deal with them. I can see their weakness and limitation. I don't know what to do with them. But our God said that with your weakness and limitation, I will work for my glory, and I will be with you to go forward. I will make a miraculous result with you. Through your weakness and failure, I will make a great victory. To do that, you might get hard trains and experiences to overcome, but I expect He will do great work for us. I want you to overcome all your weaknesses. Genesis chapter 28, verse 15. I am with you and will watch over you wherever you go, and I will bring you back to this land. I will leave you until I have done what I have promised you. Our God never let us go. With accomplishment, we will cry a lot to be His children. Before this sermon, a female church member praised a song for us. In the middle of the song, she sang with tears. Then we sang together. During we were singing, I saw this song touched our heart. Through the process, we changed to be His children. We realize our weakness and limitation and to come to God, then He will help us. Let's talk about love. Everyone wants to receive love. Last night, I consulted one of our male church members. He's a single. When I look at him, he has a long face. I asked him why, and then he replied me, I want someone to be satisfied with what they want. Especially, men want to be satisfied with others. But they have a lack of abilities. Some of the men are selfish to show themselves, so they do not do anything for others. Others have nothing to give their lovers. When I look at the weak man, I really want to help them. Who is the best woman for a man? She must accept the poor man as they are, just to understand what they are or what they do. Men must find a woman who really understands or accepts as they are. There is a pattern for a couple. I think God gave a man power and strength, and He gave a woman emotion and sense. When a woman wants to have something, men never know what it is. Or girls, you must think about this. I'm telling you with honest, if you want to get something from your boyfriend, just tell him. He doesn't know what a girl wants. Men do not know what a woman would like to take. You just tell your man what to do or what to take. Men have a lack of emotional feelings. If you keep asking men about your things, they say, I don't know. I know nothing. They just say that. Maybe women keep asking them about confirmation. Later, this makes a big trouble. Men do not really know. You need to tell them about what you want. Girls want their men to do something for them, but they do not know. However, if they know, but they could not do it, this means that they are not able to do their girlfriend's favor. Girls should understand men's situation and accept what it is. This is love. I'll give you an example. In a family, when I have problem, I'm trying to ignore my problems or trying to solve it by myself. But the family's problem, it makes me a big problem. One of families, one parent took a card of his or her child and used whatever the parents wanted to spend. Also, there is a wife or husbands who do not listen to their partner. Children keep making more troubles. All problems cannot solve from ourselves. Especially the family's problems make a big burden. With only your own problems, You can serve it or ask someone to help out with the family's problems. There is no way to solve. This is really hard for them to have troubles with others. It gives you a broken heart. Also, you show your anger to others. You have worries with your family problems. But there is no way to help them. This is our life. For this time, we realize that I have nothing, I'm too weak. We see our limitation to achieve our goal. We find no way to move forward and accomplish something in our life. Our God might ask you, do you realize who you are? I can help you. This is a time we increase our faith. Now, some women complain about their marriage. They regret to meet their present husbands. They say, if I were to have a chance to get married, I would meet a new man. I would like to say, wake up. What do I say to them? God leads you to meet the best husband. With a marriage with your husband, you can get faith and come to church. You must enjoy your marriage with your husband. Like this, people rely on wealth, reputation, and righteousness. When they have a relationship with others, it breaks all things up. God makes us realize what it is the right things to us. The only thing we must hold is God, and we must pray. We see the Bible story of Jacob. He got troubles and experienced so many things, but God trained him in a good way. We must realize God treats us as His children and lead us to a better way. I want you to meet God and restore from your troubles with grace. The next point is that Jacob had more advantages. We'll look through 3 points. The first one is that he had the spiritual sensitiveness. With his brother Esau, they talk about the birthright. Jacob wanted to take the birthright while Esau did not care about. Jacob knew it was the most important to receive the blessings. He was sensitive to take it. Many people think him as stealing the birthright from his brother. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 16. See that no one is sexually immoral or is goodness like Esau, who for a single meal sold his inheritance rights. As the oldest son, people consider their living condition and wealth. They must be out of them. They focus on the spiritual value or not. I just heard the news from one of the church members. The person lived in the richest place, but he moved his house for worship. The person moved close to church to come to worships every day. I thought the person is the most valuable one. I think God thinks so too. Jacob had spiritual sensitiveness, so he saw that what the most important things was in God, and he performed what he wanted. Like him, we need to have eyes to see spiritual sensitiveness. I want you to open your eyes to see what the spiritual things is. The next one is that Jacob knew God always be with him. He realized God always stayed with him. Genesis chapter 20, verse 16. When Jacob awoke from his sleep, he saw, surely the Lord in his place, and I was not aware of it. Have you heard about Ryan's brother? He wrote a book which is named The Practice to Be with God. When he worked the dining of the restaurant, he felt God was with him. When he walked on the street, he knew God was with him. Like him, we must realize God is with us. We always beware that God is with us. I'll give you my experience. The brand of my favorite bike is Cannondale. The word of the advertisement shows, feel it, just feel it. The message of the advertisements is that when you ride a bike, you can say, you can evaluate, just feel the bike. It gave me great impact. Last Friday, I went to a camp with my religious workers. It was a good time for us. We went to Amyeondo, which is located near West Sea in Korea. While I was driving my car with my workers, they all slept. I tried to wake them up to see the sunset. It was really beautiful, so I want them to see it. But they did not listen to me. They just slept. I was really sad. I listened to music alone and enjoy the atmosphere. I like the Bangles. Their song is named Internal Flames. The word of the song said, "Close your eyes and give me your hands." The song is like traditional song. I would recommend to listen to this song. When I look at the sunset, it gave me good impression. The word of the song says that, "Do you feel my heart beating?" When I hear this question, I thought God asked me. I felt like God was staying with me at the time. For example, when a man comes back from work, his children do not come to say, "Hello, Daddy." The man might feel disappointed. However, when he opens the door, his children run to him and hug him and say, "Daddy." The man feels great. The children feel that their father is with them. Jacob always be aware of being with God. Genesis chapter 28, 18-19. Early the next morning, Jacob took the stone he had placed under his head and set it up as a pillar and poured oil on top of it. He called the place Bethel, though the place used to be called Luz. The word part of Bethel means a house. This means the house of God. The name of the house was called Luz. The meaning of Bethel also means bread. This is a kind of bakery house. He said that this is a house of God and stayed with him in this house. When you pray, you feel God is with us. The house is for us to stay together. This is the worship where we gather. The last point is that Jacob made a vow. Genesis chapter 28, verse 20-22. Jacob made a vow, saying, "If God will be with me and will watch over me on this journey I'm taking and will give me food to eat and clothes to wear, so that I return safely to my father's house, then the Lord will be my God. And this stone that I have set up as a pillar will be God's house. And all that you give me, I will give you thanks." He said that you are my God. I'm yours. He confessed that Lord will be my God. Also, he claimed that I'll give you thanks. Some people think giving a thanks is like commandment. However, people provide the thanks before the commandment had begun. Abraham and Jacob also provided thanks to God. Romans is mentioned this part as the same as Genesis chapter 15-6. Abraham believed the Lord and he credited it to him as righteousness. From Genesis chapter 22, Abraham was tested from God. God said to him, "Take your son, go to the region of Moriah." The tense was mentioned before God tested Abraham. You must remember that people had provided thanks to God before the commandments had begun. Like Jacob, you must follow what he was or what he did. He wanted to look for God and was aware of the God to stay in the house. He promised God and made a vow to keep his word. Like him, we must do what he was and what he performed. I'll give you an example. One of male church members promised that I'll have been smoking for 30 years. From now, I will quit smoking after mission. After he came back from the mission, he has not still smoked. He has kept his promise with God. We must provide the thanks to God. This is our promise. We must keep the commandment. When we keep His word, we can work for His glory. We must keep His word and promise in our life. These days, many couples come to me to decide whether they get married or not. I don't know why they come to me to decide. They have to decide by themselves. This is for their life. Now I push them to choose and decide what they want. Look at Jacob. He met God and made decisions what to do. He's the one of the greatest men in God. I like the song, "You Are Born to Be Loved." I like this verse. All God has started on His love since the beginning of the world. Through our fellowship, the love yields fruits of love. We ask God to listen whatever we want and get fruit of love. This is great joy and thank God. In our life, we have some unquestioned things not to serve. But when we meet people, He will solve our problems. He will come to our life and look after us. He will care for us. We need to get impressed what He has done to us. We need to listen to His saying and keep His promises. This can be a wonderful life in God. I want Hongdae New Church members to keep promises and receive great fruits of God. Let's pray with today's message. My Lord, I want to meet you and receive your message to change. I would like to be aware of you and keep your promise in my life. Please stay with me and listen to your word.